Good afternoon and welcome to Football League World TV. My name is Ned Holmes and I'm joined by my colleagues George Harbey and Billy Mulley, and this is the Tuesday EFL preview show. We're going to be examining all of tonight's action, well, not all of it, the best of tonight's action across all three EFL's divisions. There's plenty of EFL action for us to get our teeth into with interesting ties across the divisions. But first of all, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube, like and share the video on Facebook, and retweet us on Twitter because it really will help us grow. How are you chaps doing this afternoon?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. The weather's not the best, but we can't grumble. Plenty of action, at least no international break. So no, looking forward to the next 2 days.
Yeah, also looking forward to having football back on our screens tonight.
Brilliant. Well, we'll start in the Championship. QPR travel to the south coast to face Bournemouth in a clash between 4th and 5th. Focusing on the home side first, George, is it fair to say we've been a little bit underwhelmed by Scott Parker's Cherries this season, but they showed real signs against Barnsley that they might have found their feet?
Yeah, definitely. They were really impressive at the weekend. I think the most impressive factor is they don't really seem to be missing the absence of obviously Dan Juma, who was the high-profile departure in the summer. The young players like Anthony and Zamora, who scored twice, they really stepped up to the plate. Obviously, Solanke is banging form with 4 goals in 6. And, they just looked really confident at the weekend. And I think the fact that Zamora is a young lad, full-back, him scoring a brace, getting on the act at home shows how free-flowing they are going forward and, how they just like to attack at every opportunity. So, they've got so much attacking talent on show. So, you'd suspect, the bookies will say it's another home win tonight.
Billy, do you share that sort of positivity about Bournemouth? And do you think, Gary Cahill, 1 game in the team, a clean sheet, do you think he could be an important man?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be excited about with this Bournemouth team. I know they haven't been fit and firing before the weekend's clash, but yeah, I think that was a needed victory to sort of lift the spirits and for them to reimagine their ambitions of getting promoted this season. I think when you've got the midfield three that they possess in Billing, Lerma, and Pearson as well, it's a very strong lineup. And even going forward now, you've got the likes of Brooks still on the wing. You've still got Solanke, and bringing in a player like Anthony, who's getting in ahead at the moment of the likes of Lowe and Macondes. It's very exciting to be a Bournemouth fan right now. I think in terms of the defence as well, I think there's another reason to be excited. I think Cahill came in and shown how strong he is, and in terms of his distribution as well, he started a lot of attacks playing into midfield. So I think they're building sort of a recipe for success at the club right now.
Absolutely. Another person that seems to have built a recipe for success in West London is Mark Warburton. QPR, really strong start to the season for them. But would you say, Billy, that this is their biggest challenge yet? Yeah,
it has to be. I think, as you say there, it's another reason to be impressed is sort of going forward. Likes of bringing Andre Gray in this summer gives them an extra dynamic. Scored at the weekend, took his goal really well. And I think their summer recruitment, we've spoken about it a fair bit before, but has been up there with the best of the division, and they're reaping the rewards of that. It's, as you say, it's their biggest clash of the season so far. 2 unbeaten sides going head to head, possessing the same record. I think, we're in for a treat this evening.
And back to you then, George. Which way do you see this one go?
I think Bournemouth will win. I just think they've got, as I said, so much talent on show, and obviously confidence as well on the back of that win at the weekend. I think QPR, obviously unbeaten still, and Warburton's doing a fantastic job, and you've got to give him credit for that. And the comeback draw at Reading shows how much character they've got. Even when the chips are down, they dig in right to the end and they keep on going. So they clearly a lot of camaraderie and character in that dressing room. It does strike me also they haven't really, if you look at who they haven't played anyone really you suspect might be up there end of the season, and this weekend will be the toughest test, as you've both said. So I'll go over Bournemouth. I'll go 2-0 win.
Brilliant. We head to the Hawthorns next, where West Brom host Derby. George, are the Baggies, simply going to have too much for the Rams in this one?
Yeah, I think so. Again, another team we talk about, West Brom. They've got so much attacking talent. I think at home, I know obviously they were left frustrated at the weekend against Millwall, but you look at the penalty they missed before half time, and if they score that and then get the Bartley, go 2-0 up, then it's pretty much different games. So it's fine margins there. But I think at home, I expect them to beat anyone or give anyone a good game. And I think, the likes of Robinson and Hugo were both benched at the weekend. So, Robinson only just recovering from COVID. So he's ready to go. And it'd be interesting to see how they line up, to be fair, because I think Hugo represents a bit of a different option up top. So they've got plenty of, formulas and ways of winning games and scoring goals. So I think you look at, player for player and squad depth, and compared to Derby's, I think they're far more superior, and I think they'll come out on top tonight.
Brilliant. And Billy, Wayne Rooney said that he knows exactly what to expect from Valérien Ismail's Albion side. What do you think Rooney's side have got to do to get a result out of this one?
I think there's been a lot of focus on this philosophy of playing out the back from Rooney. Against Birmingham at the weekend, they looked really good up until they conceded, and it was obviously a mistake that led to the goal. In terms of them moving the ball around, they've looked really good so far. But it's just those sort of mistakes that keep creeping in. And if you do that against a side like West Brom, you'll be punished time and time again. So I think it's having that different game plan to approach a team like West Brom, where they're not going to allow you to make a single mistake at all.
Sure. And would you say this would be sort of a major upset? How big of an upset would it be, Billy, if they could really topple the league leaders?
It would be a major upset, and I want to say that I can only see a West Brom win here, but I think we know after the weekend where Blackpool done very well to beat Fulham and were deserving of that. So I'm going to be careful of what I say, but I think we've got to say here a comfortable West Brom win, 3-0 maybe.
Absolutely. Well, Derby fans, you know where to sort of aim your anger if Wayne Rooney's side do pull off an upset. And just a reminder to everyone to sort of send in some comments when you do have them, because it does really sort of aid the show. We are going with, as Billy was just talking about, Blackpool and their upset against Fulham next. Well, as Billy was just saying, it was probably the upset of the season at Bluefield Road on Saturday. Blackpool will be high in confidence after that result, and they take on Huddersfield tonight. Can you see them making it 2-2, Billy?
I can, yeah, for the reason that they'll take a lot of confidence from beating Fulham, who perhaps have been the team of the season so far. West Brom will probably challenge that, but yeah, it's definitely between those two. But it wasn't just a smash and grab, it was a well-worked win where they did create enough opportunities to win the game, and they also shut out a very, very exciting Fulham attacking lineup. So I think there's a lot to be proud of and a lot of confidence to take into that. But Huddersfield are a tough opposition as well. I think it's not going to be an easy game by any means. Huddersfield obviously have started the season quite well, didn't pick up any points at the weekend, but they did create a lot of chances too. And I think Carlos Qpr'S will be very happy with what he's seen so far. And I think fans will also be happy with what Qpr'S has done in terms of implementing a new style of football around.
Brilliant. And George, as Billy said there, Qpr'S took a fair bit of pelters in the summer, but he's been, he seems to have got his team going this season. How determined do you think he'll be to make sure they get back to winning ways straight away and don't sort of lose that momentum after their defeat to Stoke?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no terrible thing losing to Stoke. I think Stoke are well up there, so it's important not to get too low. Obviously before that they won 3 games on the bounce. I think you're right, it took a lot of pelters in the summer. It took a lot of pelters last season, to be fair, but if you look at the injury problems they had last season, they were so unlucky at times. So I think he's a really good coach. I think the way they played against Reading a couple of weeks ago, and they completely wiped the floor of them. So he'll be desperate to get his side back to winning ways. this tonight. It'll be a tough test because Blackpool obviously are going to have so much confidence after that win over Fulham. They'll think they can beat anyone, but no, Qpr'S will be desperate to get back to winning ways, especially against with some home games coming up, winnable home games coming up.
Brilliant. What do you think they need to do to ensure that they can sort of get back to winning ways? As we said, do you think it's important for them to sort of make a strong start, because going behind to Blackpool sort of away could be difficult with a crowd likely to be up after Saturday's performance?
Yeah, definitely. I think they were guilty probably starting a bit slowly on Saturday against Stoke. But obviously, they got that goal after half time. But then the home fans get right on Stoke's back in a good way and push them to get back into the game, and that's ultimately what happens. 2 goals in quick succession. So, as I said, Blackpool fans back in stadiums, they're going to make a hell of a noise. Again, so much confidence and so much positivity after getting the first win back in the Championship last week at the weekend. So I think just got to ride the storm. But I think, to be fair, going forward, I think Huddersfield have got more threat than Blackpool. So I think it's all about managing the first 15-20 minutes and then settling in and playing their own football after that.
Brilliant. And Billy, how do you see this one going?
It's a hard one. It's a very difficult one, this one, but I'm going to go for down the middle, go for a 1-1 draw.
Brilliant. Well, next we'll move to our final championship. Our reporter Alfie Burns will be at Bramall Lane this evening for Sheffield United versus Preston. The Blades put 6 past Peterborough on the weekend. George, I'll come to you first. Is it too premature to say that things have finally clicked for Slavisa Jokanovic at Sheffield United? It was, a comprehensive win. Have things clicked, or are we jumping the gun a bit there by saying that?
It seems like they've gone from scoring no goals to now putting 6 past teams. So I suppose you could probably call it a blip, but a freak result. But I think you look at the predictions at the start of the season. Everyone predicted Sheffield United to be up there, and with a couple of signings, Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously Ndiaye, he's not a new signing, but a new player in that respect, in the sense that he's not really been given a first team chance before. He's obviously got something to click at the weekend, so he'll want to stick with that now, work with it. He's got another fantastic opportunity in front of a sold out Bramall Lane to put another win on the board, and it just, as I said, it looked like on Saturday everything just fell into place. It was strange really how quickly it did. So that's going to give him a lot of confidence. Morgan Gibbs-White, fantastic debut from him. They've got a player there who can score goals and create chances. So no, I think it's one result, so it's too early to say in that respect. But I think also many would expect them now to go on and put another 2 or 3 wins on the board in a row.
Brilliant. And coming to you, Billy, about the Blades, if they were to produce another sort of comprehensive and confident victory against Preston this evening, would it be a case of being able to sort of put that difficult start of the season behind us and behind them rather, and say sort of the international break has let him get that squad together and we can consider them as real promotion contenders again?
Definitely. I think one thing that you can say about the Championship this season is there's been more than a handful of teams. There's been lots of teams that have been going through somewhat of a transitional period. And I think we spoke before about not judging managers until they get things right, until this window was shut and they've got like a bit of time to sort of fully assess their options and integrate certain players into the squad. So I think that's what we're seeing now at Sheffield United. And I think Jokanovic can only, him and his side can only improve from here. I think sort of the midfield options they have are up there with the best in the division. I don't know how he's going to solve that each week, because they've got some seriously good players to try and fit into that midfield area. And it's weird because it seems that 90 minutes of football has gone from the feeling being around the Blades. Are they genuine relegation? Are they set for the relegation battle? Now, 90 minutes later, we're thinking they can actually do that. They can actually go on and enjoy a really good season. When I watched them against Luton, which was the game before the international break, they looked as blunt as anything. But on Saturday, that was probably the performance of the season.
Brilliant. And coming to you, George, Preston 0-0 draw on the weekend. Goal scoring looks to be a bit of a problem for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely a goal scoring from a regular source. I know Emil Rees got, I think, a few in the Carabao Cup, but you look at who scored for them. He's the top goal scorer of 2 in the league, and then you just see a couple of centre backs and a midfielder chipping in. So, it's something they probably didn't address in the summer. I mean, it's one now that I hope that Connor Wickham changes, whether he's fit enough to start regularly from now on. I mean, he's been in there since pre-season, but it'll be a tough ask for them. I think they won't want to be too negative going to Bramall Lane, but I think you expect United to come out the traps flying. So it might be a case of having to ride that storm for the first half or whatever, and then just looking to, I know it sounds negative, but try and nick one or just nick a freak result. So I think Preston fans will be anticipating a tough game, but I'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Brilliant. And Billy, obviously talking of Connor Wickham, I know that there's a certain Preston fan in the Football League World team who was, let's say, not particularly enthusiastic about his arrival. How involved do you expect to see him in this match, perhaps, or more likely moving forward, given that he's been with the squad for so long?
Yeah, I guess the fact that he has been training for so long will do him quite well in terms of being selected quite soon. But he's played, I think it was 50-odd games in 6 years for Crystal Palace, and it's going to take a while for him to adapt to consistent Championship football. And I think it's a signing. I think it is a good signing, and I think it's one that will start to reward Preston, let's say, sort of later, maybe in a couple of months' time. But yeah, he's under a short contract, meaning that he's going to have to be at it from the start.
Brilliant. And I'll get a sort of a prediction from you, Billy, and then one from you, George.
I'm going to go for 2-0 Sheffield United. I can see them carrying on their good form.
Yeah, I'm going to go with I was going to go 2-0, but I don't want to copy Billy, so I'll go with 3-0. I'll predict the goals keep flowing at Bramall Lane.
Brilliant. We'll move to League One next, and Lincoln and Rotherham fans, make sure you send us a comment if you're watching. Well, moving down to League One with two clubs that will certainly be hoping to have been closer to the playoffs this season, as Lincoln hosts Rotherham in the only game of the day in League One. George, you've seen a fair bit of Lincoln over the past season or so. They will have hoped to have made a stronger start for the season, but I guess having lost so many players, it's perhaps not a surprise that it's been a slow start, but they were much better against Cambridge United in quite a comprehensive victory, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of Lincoln fans, after they lost at Oxford, I've seen quite a few, quite wary and a bit sceptical about the season ahead. But they soon silenced any doubters or critics at the weekend. They scored after, I think it was 20 seconds, and it just really seemed to, a bit like Sheffield United, just find their feet in every department. I think Appleton is doing a fantastic job in that respect, and keeping Anthony Scully at the football club, given his form last season. Obviously, lost a lot of key players, and Brennan Johnson, Morgan Rogers, etc. Teo Eden at left back. So I think they're always going to be, as you said, it was always going to be probably a tricky start, or maybe an inconsistent start, but I'll hope now that win at Cambridge will give them a lot of confidence going forward, and it shows that they've got plenty of goal threat. You look at Scully, Adalukan scored goals from midfield, so I think back at home as well, they've got every chance of picking up back-to-back wins for the first time this season.
Brilliant. Yeah, we talked about an inconsistent start there, Billy, that Lincoln have made. Rotherham have sort of had similar fortunes, really. Is that something the Millers fans need to be worried about, or is this just for one side sort of getting going, and do they need to trust in the process, as it were, that's seen them go up so many times in recent years?
Yeah, I definitely think there has to be trust in Warren and what he's done at the football club, because he's consistently got them into good positions in League One, and they've struggled then to kick on in the Championship. But when they have been in the third tier, they've always impressed. And I think it's quite easy to say it's been an inconsistent start and that pressure should sort of mount on him. But I think we've seen in recent years, I think you can see with Sheffield United now, that once things start to click, then that's when you can start being judged. And I think with Rotherham as well, they still possess a very strong squad. I personally thought they were really unlucky to get relegated with the squad they had last season and what they were doing. And I know that Qpr'S has departed, and he was integral to everything they've done last season, but they've still got the likes of Ben Wiles, Freddie Ladapo, Michael Smith as well at the club, who are all very good players who all attracted championship interest over the summer. So they are a team that I imagine will come good at one point. But yeah, it's an inconsistent start, and it's about finding that winning formula.
Sure. And George, just back to the end, a win over Cambridge United, as impressive as it was, that's a sort of newly promoted side. Aside of the quality of Rotherham, do you think it's a real message of intent and a huge confidence boost that promotion is certainly still on the table for them if they can claim a win tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think last season, Lincoln fans, not many would have expected them to be challenging for a playoff finish. I think when I spoke to Mark Clapperton, he said the aim was just to basically have a top half finish and see where we finish. But this season, the pressure's on them. So, in essence, they're coming up against a top six rival in that respect. So, last season they were almost seen as underdogs, but now the pressure is almost on them to perform that extra tiny bit better and go one further. So, I think Rotherham, even though the hype's about Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland and Portsmouth, I think Rotherham have got a decent squad still, considering the amount of players they did lose and the quality of players they did lose. So, promised to be a decent game tonight. And if you're going to ask me a prediction, I'm going to sit on the fence and probably pick a 1-1 draw. I'm going to sit on the fence.
Fair play. And what about you, Billy? Who do you think is going to take this one?
He stole out my mouth, so I'm going to have to say something else as he did earlier. But I could potentially see Lincoln nicking this one 2-1. They'll be high in confidence.
Brilliant. Well, we'll drop down to our final game of the afternoon that we'll be previewing, and League Two. In League Two, it's the clash of the two sides promoted from the National League last season as Sutton United host Hartlepool. George, Hartlepool have had much the better of the start. Has that surprised you?
Yeah, it has actually, because obviously I've seen Hartlepool a fair bit in the National League last season, and in the summer they lost. Well, they look like they're about to lose everyone. They lost the two main strikers, Oates and Armstrong, who were so good in the National League, scored so many goals. Lost them to Mansfield and Harrogate, but so that losing them two key players, and I think they sit 4th or 5th at the minute. So it's a fantastic start. I think it's credit to Dave Challoner, who's in charge there. I think that they've recruited really well in the summer to replace Armstrong and Oates. Obviously, Bury was on fire before he got his injury, so that is a bit of a blow. But I think there's, apart from Oates and Armstrong, the core of the squad and the main spine of the team is not changed too much. So I'm surprised that they've won that many games, scored that many goals, because the two main lads up top have gone. But apart from that, I think he deserves a lot of credit, and I think they'll want to keep on with this momentum going forward.
Sure, and Sutton United, Billy, they've obviously endured a more difficult start to the season. The issues with the pitch won't have helped, but with them being back on their home pitch again now, do you think that's going to make a significant difference to their sort of hopes in this game and also moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you take a closer look to it, they've had a difficult start with the opposition that they've come against, and I think second from bottom is not at all a reflection of how well they've done so far. I think coming from behind, on Saturday to beat Stevenage will give them every bit of confidence to go on and progress, and I think they'll also take a little bit of confidence in the fact that all Hartlepool's 4 wins this season have come at home, and they've lost both their away games. So they are a team that haven't been travelling well, and I'm sure they'll try and use that to their advantage.
And you, George, are you backing the team that have made the strongest start to the season, or do you think Sutton are sort of going to use that home advantage?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think I'd probably go with the Hartlepool win, just on the basis that they've got so much confidence after such a good start, and I think they might have played Sutton for about 3 times last season as well, so they'll be well familiar with them. And there's not been too many changes in between the two squads either, so it'd be a tough game for them. I mean, it's obviously going away to Sutton's ground. They're going to have fans in, but I just think they've got more quality. If you look at the two squads, I think Hartlepool have got the edge here.
Brilliant. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed our preview of those EFL games. And as I say, there's a lot to get your teeth into this evening. Before we go, just a reminder to subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube, like and share this video on Facebook, and retweet it on Twitter. So from everyone at Football League World and me, George and Billy, have a great evening.